All right, what's up guys? Rob here from the Beer Club and welcome to TBC Extra Credit. Next to me is
Buck
Rogers.
Buck Rogers. Coming at you live.
Buck, you're a former SF operator.
Ooh, operator.
Operator, that's the sexy word, right?
Gucci with Spec Ops. Green Beret. Yeah,
Nice.
Former Green Beret.
Excellent. Today, we're gonna talk about rucking. So, can you define rucking?
No.
Sounds good. Next topic.
Putting heavy shit on your back and going from one point to the next. That would be my definition. I have no idea how accurate that is.
That sounds about right to me.
And that's one thing I've found on the old YouTubes. There's a lot of people quick to correct you. So you start throwing factual data out there and it's like, well, actually.
They're beeping and booping right now.
Yeah, they're getting, these things are on fire. They're just looking that shit up.
The keyboard is melting right
Yeah.
now. On Extra Credit, we like to sit down with the guys that we've interviewed on Before the Beard. So if you haven't watched Buck's episode of Before the Beard, be sure to click on the link right now and go over and watch that to learn about Buck. Then I wanted to sit down and say, I want to learn how to go rucking. I had quite the fun experience with 19th group up on the Joint Base in Cape Cod. In all seriousness, it was an amazing day. It was like a fun, open eval day to see if you can hack it. And for guys that were going out National Guard SF.
That's sick. So that was actually 4 aspiring SF guys.
4 aspiring SF guys, and it was National Guard.
Yeah, I love it.
So it was cool. It was a really fun experience, and I was like a little intimidating going up there.
Yeah.
And because I thought it was going to be like in your face, blah, blah, and they made it, those guys, shout out to those guys, because they made it a lot of fun, very approachable, and we had a great time. And
Yeah, 19th group Colorado too, like, love those guys. I did drill for 1 year, and like we talked about before, I didn't do a lot of the drills because I was going through as a new cop, so they kind of gave me some slack on that, but the times I did get to hang out with them, super cool dudes.
Part of that, as you know, is a 12-mile ruck, minimum 50 pounds. Mine just so happened to hit about 60, and they were like,
nice.
good to go. I've never, up until that, I never rucked before. And I definitely way undershot how difficult it was going to be.
Yeah.
And so now I want to talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Rugging is something that every SF candidate puts a ton of time in. I like to think of it almost like, because I like to road bike and distance mountain bike. And if you've ever been in a seat for a long period of time, it hurts like hell, right? I mean, that ass bone is on fire. And the only way, there's 2 things that you need to do. You need the right equipment, but then even the right equipment, your ass is still gonna hurt because you need time on the saddle.
Yep.
You need to put those hours in. So that's something that everybody needs to do training up. But, build up to rucking, get the right socks, the right footwear, learn how to take care of your feet, and then you could exponentially extend the miles that you're capable of putting in, but you're still going to be in pain. Rucking is a pain game.
I made it to about 6 miles. I have a previous, not making excuses for myself, but I have a previous foot injury, and I think because I didn't have time in the saddle, I didn't have the miles put in, I didn't have the right footwear, that injury reared its head, and it probably could have been avoided. And most likely I could have finished it because I know mentally I was there. Mentally I didn't want to quit. So now that we know what rucking is, and if for those of you that are not going into the military or not going and trying to get selected, that you're just out there, just want to get a good workout in, want another hobby, want to just like maybe level up your hiking, rucking can be that next thing. You're out going on hikes, and now you can start to load up your pack and just add that next level of complexity or difficulty and pain to your fun. So what's the first part that we need to break down? Gear, technique, where are we starting?
Start with your feet.
So we're starting with our feet.
Yeah, so this is a good setup. We have different types of boots. So 2 military boots, and we have a civilian set of boots. These are my selection boots. These are my deployment boots. Obviously a big difference in how you change it up for when you're a candidate trying to pass, and you have to be within regulations of the Army. And when you get to deploy and wear whatever you want.
Nice.
Very different ideas, right? And different mission sets that these boots have to handle, and that's why they're different, completely different style boots. It's not just because I get to wear them. I would never wear these to selection. And there's
And for just to be ignorant, why not? Why would you not? I mean, these look durable. I mean, they look durable. They look, obviously they can handle it. So why would you not want these going through that?
These are heavy. If you can see, the heel is like pretty narrow in comparison to like my actual heel. It doesn't, as to where these Nikes are super light. I get a ton of ankle support.
It bends like a shoe, like a regular running shoe.
This is a running shoe that counts as a boot.
Gotcha.
And in selection, you're going to be running so much that you really need something that borderline passes as a running shoe.
Interesting.
And also because in selection, you're so focused on getting through and doing crazy stuff that the more ankle support you can get, because I did Ranger selection in RASP when I rolled my ankle real bad. And it stemmed from not having good support in my ankles and not tying my boots properly, things like that. But these, if you could feel them, these old Nikes, they almost weigh
super
nothing.
Light.
Super light. The heel is super wide. It like flares out on these, so it prevents a lot of ankle rolls. Because anytime you're going to selection or doing anything, you want to, injury prevention is key. But here's the deal with these. This is where after selection, after the Q course, I don't want these for deployment or out on mission because they're just the soles. Look at how thin that is. Like a nail.
They really are like, it looks like the bottom of one of my like fitness, like Nike workout shoes they wear at the gym.
It's just a workout sneaker that's made to function as a boot, so you could run a lot. But I'm not going to be running all the time in Afghanistan. We're going to be rocky environments. The last thing I want to do is be taken off the mission because I stepped on a nail and it shot right through my boot. So when it comes to Afghanistan and mission, I want to up the weight, but how sturdy the sole is. I want a hard toe for protection. For if I'm kicking down doors, if we're booting in a door, if I accidentally kick a rock. I need to protect my feet. So these are sturdier, thick leather, and they're going to provide a lot more protection for my foot.
I mean, look at them. They've been through your deployments, and they're still good to go.
Yeah, so these are the Asolos, however you pronounce that. And I love these boots. These are my go-to boot for deployment. For hiking, I'll go back to this. If I know I'm going to be running, I'll still go back to this Nike.
So if someone's like, let's say someone's loves to go out on a Saturday, maybe with their family, or maybe they want to go do some trail running, but they want to step up to rucking. Should they be looking at something more similar to this style, or do you think they should be going straight to something like this?
No, I think it's important if you're going to be like running around and you're just going to be having fun that you're comfortable. So I have another pair for that, and it's I think they were called Chameleons. They're like a low top shoe. They just have more of a trail tread on them. Or Solomons. I have a lot of Solomons that just have a trail base on them. A lot of guys, in teams or on teams use Solomons like their trail shoe. Yeah. You can get away with almost everything in a Solomon trail shoe. As a police officer, I use Solomon trail shoes.
Wow.
On training for the ODA, Solomon trail shoes. You can do a lot with those shoes, where you don't have to step up to a boot. And anytime you can get away with a shoe over a boot is always going to be recommended. For me, that's my personal preference.
How important is comfort when someone's should you sacrifice some comfort for maybe some durability, or do you think comfort is?
So it goes both ways. So like the Q course, I had a pair of these and I had a pair of Garmonts that were like very.
These are Garmonts.
They were kind of like an older version of these. Yep. Actually, I think they were the older version of these because they were. So I had the version 1 of these where they had like a thicker sole, super heavy, like thick heel, but I loved them. Once you break them in, the comfort comes. Like, how long have you had these boots?
Like 5-6 miles. Just got them brand new.
Yeah, so they're not going to be comfortable. These will get comfortable. You have to break in your boots, and that's huge. For guys going to selection or anything like that, you need at least 2 pair of broken in boots. And you have to get like a lot of miles in. And once the boot starts to become like a floppy thing, like you'll know, like once your boot,
you feel it.
You feel it. You put that thing on and it's like part of your foot. It's not fighting you anymore. Yeah. You're not getting blisters anymore.
Yeah, I feel some hot spots. And I think that's why like I was wearing, and I love them they're definitely not made for rucking, I know that, but they were the Ultimas, Maritime, like high top kind of like boot shoe. and they were like I take them out to the range, so they were good for that. And I figured because they're kind of like a sneaker that they would be good for rucking. But I think, and this is going to be my next question, is like with the sole when you're talking about, they're super flat.
Yeah, you don't want that.
And I think that's why. So I had snapped the 3 bones across the top of my foot, and I had pins in the bottom. And then where I started to feel my pain was in the bottom and all that pressure.
Yep.
And I think it was because the sole was so flat. So is that important too, to like make sure you get like a nice sole, you have a lot of support, toe box, big toe box?
Absolutely. And then just cushion in that foot, because you got to think like the closer you get to a sneaker, once you start adding all that weight to it, that's almost like the closer you're getting to barefoot walking.
Yeah.
And then I remember in the Q course, I did the minimalist thing for a long time. And I did minimalist shoes. I went for a run. I stepped on a rock, and I bruised, I think it was my heel. And then that heel bruise lasted like months of pain in my heel. So you really need to step up with support in the sole too. So like a shoe that's super flat. Like I just went running the other day and just running in a flatter shoe, because I like the Hokas. And the Hokas kind of got that arch to them.
Yeah, they got.
And just running in a flatter shoe, I started to get foot pain.
Really?
Yeah. So, but the thing is, you mentioned hot spots.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hot spots are important. We sell this on the FNG Academy site, a foot care kit.
Nice.
But this is something that you have to figure out. So I wouldn't say because you're getting hot spots, ditch your boots. You need to need to break them in, and you need to find those hot spots on your feet. So once they're going to be likely the same spots every time. So once you get those hot spots, you want a foot care kit, and you're going to want to take care of those spots. So let's say you're going out and you're about to go on a big ruck, and you know where your hot spots are. Like mine are the back of my heels and then the bottom ball of my foot. So before I go on that ruck, I'll take the scissors out of the kit, and I'll take my moleskin.
Yep, love moleskin.
Yeah, and then I'll just cut little loops or little circles. And then before my hot spots even develop, just take that, peel it off, and then stick it to that spot. So that friction goes into the moleskin.
Into that non-tear skin.
And non-tear skin.
So the hot spot is really just from the friction with the shoe. Gotcha, okay.
So it's just rubbing that skin until it separates, and then get the fluid that goes up underneath the skin. And then it blisters. So if you put that over before you get the blister, you won't get them. But how do you know where to put it until you get those hot spots?
Yep.
So in training, go ruck long enough to get hot spots. Use your moleskin when it matters and cover those hot spots up once they heal before they start.
Yep. Now, say the next part is going to be blisters, or I would ask about blisters because I got one that day.
Yep. And then so in the kit we do the alcohol pads, so you could pop the blister and then clean it with alcohol so it doesn't get infected. Because I mean, you have that. Sometimes they get massive bubbles, and you got to get that out. So you can use your scissors, wipe them down with your alcohol pad, cut it, drain it, clean it with your alcohol pad, and then you got Band-Aids to lock that spot up.
It's as simple as that.
That's it. But and then keeping your nails trimmed. So this kit comes with the
really
nail clippers.
So not just being just a gross male human species.
No, you actually.
There's actually a purpose to that.
So it's funny because the like back in when I was going through, it's not back in the day, like 2013, but when I was going to selection, people were like, "Oh, dude, you put your feet in gas. You got to toughen your feet up." And I was like, "Yeah, fucking put my feet in gas. That's some hard ass shit right there."
Hell yeah.
And then I'm like, "You fucking idiots!" I got so stupid because the drier your feet are, the easier they get cracks, and then cracks turn into bleeding and pain will get you out of the fight. Pain turns into cracks, can turn into infections. Your feet get infected, you're screwed.
Goes downhill quick.
So so having good hygiene and care for your feet, moisturizing your feet to keep them soft so they don't crack, cutting your nails, taking care of blisters, and then knowing where your hot spots are, that's huge. I know exactly where my hot spots are. If you're like, hey, tomorrow we're going on a 10-mile ruck, I'm cutting 4 of these. I know exactly where I'm putting them. And from there, the next most important thing is your socks. So if you guys don't know what the sock is, like who the sock brand is that a lot of special operations guys use, it's Fox River. They're fucking expensive. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, I don't have many of them. I don't buy many of them. We're working to get the wholesale for this so we can sell them on our site.
Nice.
But here's the thing about socks that people don't know. Don't just go buy any socks.
So don't just go, I made the mistake of just buying I just brought my basic Under Armour, the same socks I would wear to the gym and work out in.
Right. No.
Not knowing any better.
And the reason that's a bad idea from my experience is that those socks, they slide on your foot. So they're not meant to grip your foot. So as they slide on your foot, they're creating more friction. So more friction, and you get more blisters.
Right.
As you can see in the Fox Rivers, they design the socks with tight spots in the socks to compress.
Yeah.
So they design it to compress around your foot and not move.
So these veins that run down here, that actually grips it.
Yeah. So all the different.
Wow. You could, even just I've never picked this brand up, but the thickness of them.
Yeah.
They're super thick.
Well, then look at on the top. You see they put a ventilated area for
your
toes.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
So that's not you're not getting all that sweat build up in your toes and then getting trench foot.
Right.
But the heel is nice in these. You get a thick heel. It captures onto your heel because you don't want that heel just slipping from a generic sock.
The heel starts to hurt quick.
Medium weight. Here's my personal preference with these. Don't go medium weight unless you're some people like medium weight. My feet sweat. So I hate medium weight. So the ones that I prefer, I lost them all, but they're Fox Rivers, but they're designed as to be a under sock. So you wear 2 pairs of socks. I hate thick socks. Like I said, my feet sweat, and I feel like the thick material, I could feel my heel moving inside that, so I don't like it. So I go with the Fox River liners. And it's a real thin Fox River sock, and it's meant to double up.
Nice.
So the idea is that the friction's going between the 2 socks.
Right. And it's not on your foot.
But I just like the thinner ones. Keeps my feet cool, and they're just super comfortable. But Fox River, amazing. So you put on the right socks.
Good socks.
Take care of your blisters. You're already way ahead of the game.
So now we're on to the ruck itself, the pack. So
what is that?
This I just went on your typical run-of-the-mill tactical gear website.
Okay.
Bought one that wasn't that expensive. I think this was maybe $150 maybe.
Okay.
Just standard. I thought it was good because it had the supports in the back. It had these cool pads. Did I do a good thing? Did I do a bad thing? Where am I at with this?
This is not a rucksack. This is a tactical backpack.
Tactical backpack.
Yeah, so this is not what you want.
Okay. Lesson learned. Lesson 1.
Yeah, lesson 1 is
don't buy a tactical backpack.
Don't buy a tactical backpack. And you can feel it's just where they got plastic in here.
Yeah. Just little pads.
This isn't supporting anything. So this whole thing is just cloth hanging on your back. It's not giving you any support brace.
I felt it.
Points.
I tried to cinch it up as tight as possible to get as high up my back, but I still felt like I was fighting it the whole time. Yeah,
of course. And the reason for that, sorry, I shouldn't say of course, obvious, because they're selling, look they made it look super tactical. They put this cushion
cool thing. It's got this leather thing down here.
And they got the Cummerbund. So you think I could ruck with this, but the problem is you don't have a frame. Whether it's an external frame or an internal frame, you need a pack with a frame. And that frame supports all the weight from the pack, and it just manages the load on your back. So what I have is an external frame, Tactical Tailor Malice pack. Is it the best thing out there? Probably not. But I got through the Q course with it. We would pack these things up to 90 pounds.
Wow.
Sometimes even more than that. I remember in the Q course they were hey, we want to do a jump. You guys got to get everyone down to 85 pounds a person for this aircraft. We couldn't do it. We could not get anyone down to 85 pounds because we just have too much equipment to carry. Between the radios, extra batteries, MREs, ammo, we could not get our packs. So that means that we're 95 plus pounds. Wow. You can't. We get these things so weighed down you can't stand up on your own. You have to come help.
That's crazy.
Two-hand help the dude get off the ground.
Yeah.
So we rely on these packs being sturdy. But you'll notice the difference is mine has this external frame.
Yeah, I can see it already, yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to be super sturdy. And then this is a real Cummerbund. You see how huge it is?
Yeah.
So that's going to provide support through my back all the way around to my hip bone. Yours is a fake ass cummerbund.
Yeah.
So like that cummerbund, you got your hip bones right here, and if you got just a fake cummerbund that's basically just cloth, it's just going to be rubbing and shit.
It's not giving me any support.
No support, and it's most likely just going to cause like rashes and burns into your hips. So this thing, and then if you see the frame, it kicks out a little bit away from my body.
Yep.
So that way it's actually pushing into my lower
so it's kind of like keeping it level.
Yeah.
Whereas mine was like pulling me back.
Yeah, yours will
curving.
just pull you straight back.
Yeah.
And I could distribute the weight inside my ruck better because I have this external frame. So it'll support, putting, fluffy stuff at the bottom, and then I put my heavy stuff up at the top because you want my heavy stuff as close to my back and as high as possible. So that's another thing that people don't really understand about the rucking, or maybe they don't, is how you pack your ruck is super important.
So you don't just go like savage like I didn't just throw
everything in
there?
No.
Oh.
No.
No wonder why I didn't complete it.
So that's all those things. You see how it starts to like compound, like one little mistake compounds into 2, into 3, and then before you know it, you're like, I'm just going for a ruck, but I'm breaking. Like your body was physically breaking. Yeah. And that was just the compounding of multiple small mistakes that turn into a nightmare experience.
Yeah.
So what I say is you're always going to accept the pain, but once you start making all those decisions properly, and that pain is like way tolerable. And all of a sudden you're doing like 15, 20 mile rucks, and you're like, of course it hurts, but I'm not broken. I can still
get through it.
Yeah, I can get through it. So external frame is going to be huge.
Okay.
And then the second thing we'll talk about with these is how to distribute your weight. Let's say we have like a 45-pound weight or a bunch of batteries that are super heavy. What I'm going to do is you're always going to have a sleeping bag, right? So we're in the Army, we would always shove our sleeping bag at the bottom, and then the heavy stuff would be close to our back and then as high as possible. And then you would fill the rest of like your snivel gear, so your jackets, your pants, you would fill that space in around that stuff, holding the heavy stuff
up
high.
top.
So that way when you're rucking, so if I put this on, so when you're rucking, if you have the weight, see how it's low because it's not filled up, but if I have that weight high, I could shift my hips forward and then I could lean into my steps. And that weight is more manipulated, like I can manipulate the weight in my ruck.
Yeah.
And I could adjust how it feels on my back. And then while you're rucking, a good technique is to go back and forth from the cummerbund to your
They were talking,
straps.
the instructors that were there were talking about that, how they would keep adjusting the weight from up top down.
Yeah.
Even just looking at it here, I can see the way it sits on your back. It's like the bottom of the pack is probably like 5 inches off and like straight up.
Yeah, so this like
It just looks way more comfortable.
it's way more comfortable. And then like once that weight gets heavy, my shoulders are gonna hurt.
Yeah.
Right. So once my shoulders hurt, I do a little jump, and I get that weight high, and then I attach my cummerbund. So once my cummerbund's attached, look at the weight of my shoulders.
Oh yeah, it's off. You can get your hand back there. Yeah.
Yeah. So now it's all in my hips.
Wow.
And I could tighten this down just so my my straps touch, and it stays close to me. But now my shoulders are getting a break. And then once my hips start hurting, I pop my cummerbund, drop my weight back into my shoulders, and now I go until my shoulders start hurting.
Yeah.
So that way I'm constantly getting off back and forth.
You're bouncing
Damn. So you gotta distribute.
That's a huge tip, especially like if you're going out for selection. I mean, I feel like that would be gigantic.
You gotta
to
distribute the pain.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that like you mentioned like road biking before, but getting into that long distance cardio, let's call it, adding this to the catalog of torture and pain that we call fun.
Yeah. Huge.
Yeah.
And it takes a while. I think people, they get out there and they experience the pain like, this sucks. But it's like you have to just stick with it a little bit. Don't go too heavy too fast. Stick with it, and then you'll start to get little successes. Even in distance running, you go out there and you try to I was running 10 miles on the trails in Castle Rock. I was hitting that Castle Rock trail like 10 miles in Colorado, like every other day, and then I would hit 15 miler. And like one Friday, let's say my Friday was gonna be my 15-mile run.
Yeah.
One Friday, I would run that 15 miles and I'd be like, that was the easiest, funnest thing I've ever done in my life. The very next Friday, I would struggle just to make it through.
Wow. Yeah.
So it's like you have to fight through the initial suck, and you'll start to experience those like super fun highs and lows.
And when you finish, you feel good.
Yeah.
What would you suggest for anyone that's maybe watching this that is like, wow, I want to try that out, or is maybe getting into what is a good like mileage range to start getting like used to it? Do you just go out, hit 10 miles? Do you start small, 2, 3, and build up?
Yeah, I would say like honestly, like if you've never done it before, start super low, like a mile, 2 miles.
A mile.
It really doesn't matter. The distance is irrelevant. You are getting used to having something on your back that's heavy and figuring out what that feels like, figuring out how to adjust it, coming back from that and being like, this really sucked. I'm going to make some adjustments to my ruck. What if because this thing, you may not realize it now, but I've spent a lot of time moving this
dialing it in.
Yeah, moving my shoulder straps lower, moving them higher. Like figuring out if the cummerbund is better if I have it cinched tight or if it's loose. If I distribute 50-50 in cummerbund shoulder straps, or if I have to do 100-100 and keep switching back. So all those things that you're going to dial in, and that's not even to include how your placement is.
Well, that was going to be the next question is, what's a good weight to start at? Like when we went up and did that day, it was 60 pounds.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it was.
That's a lot. That's a huge starting weight. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. 60 pounds is heavy.
Yeah.
60 pounds is 45 is like I would say 45 is like where you want to start playing with it.
Yeah.
45, it's a limit, like easy until 40. It's almost like you don't even have it. Once you hit over 45, it's like that weight compounds quick.
Dude, I was like hyped on this. I was nervous. I was hyped for the day. I took my plate carrier, which is about 20 pounds, and then had some sandbags and threw them in there. Just like night before, just being like the slacker that I was, threw it in the night before. Literally went to go take it out of the truck when we got to the base, and I went, oh shit.
Heavy.
I was like, oh, it hit me like literally like a ton of bricks. I was like, wow, this is, and
what you did, I'm going to be 100% honest with you, what you did, 60 pounds in that piece of shit,
yeah,
that's rough. That's rough. That thing sucks. I would never want to carry 45 in that
first
thing.
like 20 steps, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I made, yeah.
Your 90% of your mistake came from that pack.
Right.
And brand new boots.
Yeah.
So between brand new boots, you didn't wear those yet, did you? You didn't wear
no,
those.
I had those. I had
the
sneaker type Ultima,
which I think is probably worse than brand new boots. So wearing the Ultimas,
flat soled.
Yeah, wearing the Ultimas, and then that pack is not meant to have weight in it.
Yeah.
That pack is like, I like tactical gear and
bring it to the range.
And I want to put a range kit. I want a first aid kit to leave in the truck. That is not to have weight in it. Like, look at it, it's just a sack.
Yeah.
So
no support.
All that lack of support, all the weight you put in it is distributing into your body and not the frame. And a lot of people that are out there trying rucking and they're like just getting beat down. You could be looking at like SF guys just crushing miles. You're not realizing that they're driving Ferraris and you're in a Honda
That's a
Civic.
great way of putting it. Great way of putting it.
So like this is a Ferrari, and that's why I'm cruising and having a good time. And you're driving like on 3-cylinder like Honda Civic that is kicking your ass.
Backfiring. Yeah.
And so that's what I would attribute most of your issues coming from is that ruck choice.
What about hydration? Stay hydrated?
Hydration is everything.
I mean, that's obvious, right?
That's everything.
Yeah.
You would say it's obvious, but here's the thing. When guys get focused on a task, they forget to drink water. And guys and girls, like people, right? And so like selection, you're so focused, I got to get there. I mean, in the Q course, we had land nav, and my points were miles away. And I felt like I was just running the whole time. I was stoked on my route selection, because here's the deal with Q course. I don't know if they do land nav anymore. I think they took it out, because so many people were failing it in the Q course. But you either get a short distance with the worst vegetation you've ever seen in your life, or you get a long distance with not bad vegetation. And so I was getting the long distances, and I was like, thank you, Jesus.
Yeah.
Because I would rather run
Yeah.
and know that I'm on track
Yeah.
than fighting through a draw monster, right?
Ugh.
So I wasn't thinking about water as much. When I got done, I finished like, I think the second person done. Me and the first guy came in at the same time.
Oh, wow.
So we crushed it.
Yeah.
I peed iced tea, and it burned coming out.
Shit.
And I was like, I think that's
Wow.
rhabdo.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so then I went and sat in the field. They're like, hey, if you're done, go sit over there. I went and sat in the field, and I just was like I was
Oh,
losing
man.
it. And I was doing this in the middle of the field, and I was like, I can't, I stay awake, stay awake, stay awake. And some guy came up to me, and he goes, dude, you need this. And he took a Gatorade packet, poured it into water, and handed it to me. And I slammed it, and he saved my freaking life.
Oh, man.
So, like, hydration is key, but yeah, not something I learned in ultra running is I don't even get thirsty. I drink. Like,
Yeah.
I build it
Just
into
force
my,
it.
You just force it down. Like, by the next aid station, this needs to be gone
Yeah.
because I'd have them on my chest. I
Yeah.
have one with salt, some kind of salt packet in it,
Mm-hmm.
and then one with just water. Both these have to be gone, thirsty or not. So
you almost make it like a task.
Yeah.
Give yourself a little task
Yeah.
to make sure you get it done.
absolutely,
That's
because you'll
good.
forget to drink, and then by the time you realize it, it's too late. You're in a bad shape.
Wow. All right. All right. There it is from the pro. So if you're getting into rucking, those are your basics. Those are what you need to know. Start off light, start off low on the mileage, get some good boots, get a good pack, take care of your feet, and you'll be on your way.
Yeah, you'll have a night and day difference from what you have.
Yeah, don't do what I did.